Breakfast.
Monday to Friday.
4 a.m. to 6 a.m.
On 702 and CapeTalk.
11 minutes to 5 o'clock. A very good morning to you. Welcome to the Early Breakfast Show on 702 and on CapeTalk. I'm Zain Johnson in for Africa Milani this morning. Well, millions of South Africans rely on what is known as the SRD grant for vital monthly support. But thousands of applications for this particular grant continue to be rejected. And of course, with a major appeal heading to the Supreme Court of Appeal later this month, we want to look at the legal challenge and the legal challenge concerns around access to eligibility and what the outcome could mean for people depending on this support. And we welcome to the show Major General Alfred Moyo, hashtag Pay the Grant. So very good morning to you, Alfred, and welcome to the Early Breakfast Show.
Good morning and good morning to the listeners. I'm General Alfred Moyo, not Major General Alfred Moyo.
I gave you an extra title there this morning. Can you take us back to the High Court judgment and what did the court find was wrong with the way the SRD grant was being administered?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. The Pretoria High Court on the 29th of May found that it is declared that the Regulation 3.2 of the regulations relating to the COVID-19 SRD grant introduced of April 2022, introduced on 29 May, it is unconstitutional and invalid to the extent that it provides for SRD grant application to be lodged only online or electronic platforms only. So that was something that was hampering millions of the applicants who are not on smartphones, who cannot easily use or able to use the electronic platform in terms of lodging their applications. And there was a barrier in terms of the threshold that was put forward by the SASSA in terms of the money that you can have if you want to qualify for those. So those were some of the things that the North Gauteng High Court declared unconstitutional and invalid.
Why is the upcoming 25th of August hearing so important, for people who rely on this 350 Rand SRD grant?
This judgment will be a great relief to those persons that are currently being excluded and denied the right to have this means of survival that is being actually declared. Actually, they've been cut off unconstitutionally so by these new regulations and those reviews that have been happening. So I think the judgment on the 25th will be a great relief to them, those that are not actually in the system currently.
Chatting this morning to General Alfred Moyo from hashtag Pay the Grants, and we are unpacking the fact that, there is a major appeal heading to the Supreme Court of Appeal later this month on the 25th of August. And we take a look at the legal challenge and the concerns around access and eligibility for this particular grant and what the outcome could mean for absolutely more than 10 million people. Alfred, more than 10 million applications were rejected in 2025-2026. What concerns you about this figure?
This has been something that has been concerning us for many years, not only 2025, because each and every year since the introduction of this SRD grant in 2020, each and every year, the Treasury makes means and ways of making sure that it cuts the budget and forces SASSA and DSD make sure that it reduces the number of beneficiaries. So as we know that with about 18 million beneficiaries, now we have about 10 million that have been now declined or been taken out of chopped off the system. So this is the way that the Treasury has been pushing the means of doing away with this SRD grant, as he made it clear that he's not in favor of this grant.
The thing is that we want to move away from the grant actually more towards a living wage, but there are certain main sort of reasons applicants are being rejected, are these verification systems working fairly? Because the problem with submitting an application onto a platform, and as you said, that the court said that one of the concerns is that not everybody does have a smartphone and not everybody does have access to the internet. Especially when it comes to you wanting 350 rand and then having to pay such a lot of money for internet. But what are the main sort of reason applicants are being rejected? Is it just basically they're not filling in the forms or filling in what needs to be corrected correctly? Or is it the fact that they're not supplying any supporting documents? Where does the sort of bottleneck lie here, Alfred?
This challenge has been actually happening for some years. Firstly, they've been saying it's technical glitches. Then lately it was some errors, technical errors, but continuously it's been happening even if the SASSA have tried all those means of trying to verify or to use some other method of verification. But the challenge lies with the Treasury in terms of reducing the budgeting for this SRD grant. So it forces the DSD and SASSA to chop the beneficiaries in terms of making sure that the money that they receive, it can accommodate those that are in the system. So the system that they are introducing is not working very fairly because most people are getting chopped and not knowing or not getting any reasoning why are they being chopped of the system or why are they being rejected for that matter. And the system, even if you appeal, it doesn't provide any space or options of providing a new evidence that can substantiate your case. So it's very problematic because people, once they submit information, SASSA only relies on the database that they collect from the institutions that are not updated. And those institutions provide those information which is not verified and it cannot be supported by any documentation from the appellant if you try to appeal your rejection.
I think that is the problem also with the system is the fact that, you don't get told, listen, you need to submit an additional form or you need to submit additional documentation or the reason why you have been declined for this SRD grant. Chatting this morning to General Alfred Moyo from #Pay the grants. We're talking about the SRD grant. If you are reliant on this grant, we'd love to hear from you on 011-883-0702 or in Cape Town on 021-446-0567. What does that 350 Rand actually mean to you? Alfred, what could the outcome of this case then mean for the 10 million South Africans and millions of other South Africans who are unemployed in the country?
I think it can guarantee their right to have a means of survival. As we've been saying, that this is a right, is not just a favor from the political party or the treasury, as by the way. So this can assure and reaffirm their constitutional right of having this right guaranteed. As the North Gauteng indicated, that as the treasury was arguing that this is a temporary measure which was for only COVID. So I think this can guarantee and reaffirm that this was not only a measure of COVID-19 pandemic era. It is a matter of continuous unemployment relief. Those that are finding themselves in this 12 million or over 12 million unemployed can actually find themselves having sort of a means of surviving.
We got a voice note from Sindile this morning on the unemployment in South Africa and increasing the grant.
Hey, good morning. We can't say we're going to move away from grants to the living wage. Living wage is for those who are already working. They need a better wage. But you cannot get rid of grants as long as the unemployment is so high in South Africa. And I've always been saying the government is trying to get rid of these grants by just excluding people for a mere fact that somebody has deposited 50 rands in your account. They say you've got an income that's coming in. That's another way of saying we want to get rid of this grant. They did it because of the elections. Now it's stuck with them. They don't know what to do with it. So we can't let them. Instead, they need to increase it because more and more people are not working because of the government incapabilities of not creating employment in South Africa. And the government itself, the GNU is even worse, Sindile.
Thank you so much, Sindile, for your contribution there, and a very big thank you to General Alfred Moyo from #PayTheGrants. The SRD grant is currently 370 Rand, and food poverty line is significantly higher than that, and we need to look at that SRD grant and sort of convert it into something more sustainable. And the system needs to be fixed, or the system needs to be adjusted to make sure that people have access to actually fill in the forms, do the necessary, give the supporting documents, and make sure that